Welcome back into our NBA TV studios. I'm Kristen Ledlow. He's Coach Dave Yeager. He is block or charge Rex Chapman. If you don't follow him on Twitter, you should. You're missing out on a lot. Not, I don't think, as exciting as what is going on right now between the Rockets and the Celtics. Take a look. Again, this game now going to be headed into overtime. Are you excited? You're shaking your head.
It's unbelievable.
The back and forth.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so Marcus Smart from deep. Remember when we used to criticize him for
Because he couldn't shoot?
Yeah.
Yeah, forget it. He's always made shots, though. Slap shots in at the ends of games and quarters. He makes big shots.
So that would bring it within one, with 8.1 seconds to go in regulation.
Oh.
But the end, I know.
Come on.
The intentional miss
Come on.
from Tatum.
Come on.
And look at the three to tie.
This is the third time I've seen this year. Missing a free throw and scoring at the end of the game.
Unbelievable.
With the perfect, I mean, the trajectory has to be perfect, right?
Absolutely.
To get it.
Caught it right in the shot pocket. Perfect.
Wow.
Yep. Right in rhythm.
Paul Pierce, Celtics legend, loving what he's seeing from that team, especially from Jalen in that moment. 104-104, the Saturday primetime game. Of course, we're going to keep you guys updated on that. The end of regulation, it's tied. We're headed to overtime. Jason Tatum leading the Celtics yet again, this time with 30 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists. While Russell Westbrook leads the Rockets with 38, 7, and 5. Could this perhaps be, I'm just trying to get people talking on Saturday night, be an NBA Finals preview?
Ooh.
Interesting.
Ooh. That's
I'm sure there are a number of people watching thinking that it could be.
Possible, but there's some big teams out there.
there are.
These are good. These are two good teams.
Personally,
Very.
I'm pulling for the Celtics to make a deep run.
Are you?
Yeah, I just am. I like these Celtics. I wouldn't want to play against them. I know they're a little thin in the middle, but man, just like tonight, you got to pick your poison with them. They have 3 or 4 guys you have to game plan for. They spread you out. Kemba is a perfect fit for them. Yeah, I hope they make a deep run.
Seem like they like each other. They
Yes.
play together. They share the
Very
basketball.
much
They
so.
spread the floor open. And it's a fun style to watch. I think it is fun to fall in love with that kind of play.
I think apart from, as you mentioned, being a little thin in the middle, is there anything else that you see as perhaps being a hindrance to this team moving forward?
No, not really. I think that's their Achilles heel for right now. But look at Houston. They're trying to do it without a big man.
Okay, so if they're playing a team like the Rockets, why not?
No doubt. The problem is for them defensively if Marcus is not on the floor.
Right.
They struggle
Yeah,
a little
that's
bit
true.
defensively. So he's got to be on the floor. But, hey, that's not a bad thing. No. He just continues to get better as his career has gone on.
Let's talk then a little bit more about the Rockets because, okay, you talk thin in the middle. They're quite obviously all in on this small ball experiment. It can't be called an experiment anymore because they're all in.
Yeah, and you know, you look at this game tonight. They don't have a big man. They're not playing a big man. And you hope that when you decide to go to this small, skilled lineup, you got to make shots. James is, I think we saw 6 for 22 at the end of the game, and that's a recipe to beat them. Beat the Houston Rockets. Also, Russell's taken 2 more shots than James, and I think that's always sort of a thing, trying to figure out how to get them both off at the same time.
He's been so good the last 2 months, though. It's Westbrook has been just terrific. They're not thin, though. They've got the girth. PJ
Yeah, right.
can hold people up.
Very
Russ is one of the
true.
strongest guys per pound in the league, and something nobody knows about James Harden. He's extremely strong. Now, if they get up underneath you and force, 4-footers or 6-footers, it's the rim protection. If you can get past that first line of D, there's nobody to block a shot.
But it does seem, for all the criticism that was gained when they did decide to trade away their starting center, that other teams now are having to play their style of basketball because it's been as quick as it has been, because they're able to spread the floor the way that they are. It doesn't seem like others are taking advantage of the Rockets inside.
You know, when I played in Phoenix, Danny Ainge was coaching us for a little while, and we played at times, myself, Jason Kidd, Kevin Johnson, Steve Nash, and Danny Manning on the floor all at the same time. And it was great. I think we won 55 games or so, maybe a 4 seed, and beat in the first round just because it was different. Teams could load up on us in the playoffs. I'll say this, though. You've got to decide, are you going to try to match up with them, or are you going to impose your will and play your style of ball? And I think once the playoffs get here, A 7-game series is very different than facing this style sporadically.
Yeah, you play these guys once every 2-3 weeks, the second night of a back-to-back. You're not really thinking
surprising.
about this.
Yeah, it's
but you
jarring.
get hunkered in for 2 weeks in a long series, and you can plan on scheme things, knowing they're going to switch and get different guys in actions. But I still like their chances. I mean, they've got so many guys that can score the basketball, and if they get hot, a la Portland last year, they just shot the heck out of it. Why can't these guys do it?
You did mention Russell Westbrook. What have you liked about what you've seen from him, especially just since January on? Because this is a guy now that scored 20-plus in 29 straight.
To me, he's making quick decisions with the ball. It's coming to him. He's not worried if he should set somebody else up. He's catching, attacking, putting it in, getting into the paint, and he just plays with so much force. And then the other thing is, he might be the best offensive rebounding guard I've seen in the last 10 years. Well, he's basically their offensive rebounder deluxe. He can go every time he wants. He gets put back dunks. It's fantastic.
Then you make a great point. He after the break, he's been engaged like nobody's business. And we talked about it earlier, Coach. You know, Mike D'Antoni and those guys, Daryl Morey, they had a decision to make. Are we going to try to win it traditionally with an untraditional superstar in James Harden? And they decided to go unorthodox, give it a shot. To their credit, it does open the floor. It opens the floor for Russell and James. And when either of those guys are downhill coming at you, you're in a bind.
And they're all in on it.
Yeah,
as a team, because you can't be standing back going, I don't know if this is going to work.
Right,
You know what I mean? Like, no, you got to be all in. And the sell that Coach had and Daryl had and their team leaders saying we can win this way, that's important.
Well, when we come back, we're going to take a look at this 8-game slate on a Saturday night. We've, of course, got 7 more to talk about. We're going to Trae Young, just a couple of miles down the street. We've got scores, highlights, analysis, and a couple of upsets, by the way.
Young legs.
Yeah, remember those days?
Yes, barely. Barely.
This game, I mean, coming down to the wire, an understatement. In overtime, there's Gordon Hayward on the break. And James Harden firing back inside as well.
That guy's a little slippery.
That's a good word. Daniel Tice inside.
Oh, yeah. Dan Tice. Take over, baby.
Just back and forth, back and forth. The lead changes here. Now 110 to 109. Celtics with the advantage with 47 seconds to go in overtime. What does this say, though, about this team that's doing so without their primary offensive facilitator in Kemba Walker?
There's a lot of good offensive players in this game right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's fun to watch. We're glued to this thing watching it. Matchups do matter. You got to make sure you get the guy you want to play James on him. Of course, he's going to draw another guy up there to play in the pick and roll, but got to try to keep him in front. He's been in the lane 3 times in a row here.
What a treat for everyone in attendance in the Boston Garden tonight. I mean, to be able to see Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, I mean, Gordon Hayward, guys who can just spread you out, go one-on-one, an exciting game to watch and an exciting brand of basketball.
And again, for as much as was made of James Harden and Russell Westbrook trying to make it work on the floor together, of course, we'd seen it years ago in OKC when they were playing very different roles. But is it going to speed up to play to Russ's pace, slow down to play to James's? And it's like we're just seeing these guys not only sacrifice statistically, but continue to do exactly on any given night what is required for this team to win.
So they're finding a rhythm and having spent some time together. Obviously, they grew up around each other and played together a long time. But it's a 5-man game. You're trying to get everybody else involved at times and find the right rhythm to play with and what pace.
I agree. I think that their pace is going to be terrific. Hopefully it's going to be terrific as they figure this thing out down the stretch.
Feel the need to address the close-ups we're showing of these guys. It's because they're very captivated by this game. So don't flip it off. Don't turn them into a meme or a GIF or GIF or however you pronounce it or whatever it is you kids are doing. We're just very enamored by the basketball game that we're watching right now, which, here we go. A wedgie. Shout out to the
That's what I was watching,
man.
Oh,
yeah.
that's what I was watching.
Wait a second.
Oh, gosh. What a great game. What a great game.
A couple of great and fun coaches in that game, too.
No doubt.
Coach D'Antoni and Coach Stevens
Fun
as
guys,
well.
yeah.
110, 24 seconds to go in overtime. Again, everyone's
down to the wire.
captivated
Down
by
to
this
the wire.
one. There's no Kemba Walker, but again, a lot of offensive players in this game. Some incredible offense that we're watching. I asked you what the Celtics, I think, would need to be able to take that next step. You said they're a little thin inside. What about the Rockets? What do you think will be their primary hindrance come playoff time? Is it solely the small ball lineup that they're presenting, or is it simply going to be because there are so many powers in the Western Conference?
I think it's their defense. It's going to come down to whether they can ultimately guard bigs, quality bigs like Jokic and Anthony Davis, legitimate, superstars in this league. It's very difficult to do if you're talking about three-quartering and fronting the post with P.J. Tucker for the most part.
I think matchups might matter for them. Who they catch in the first round might matter.
Very true.
Makes
very
a difference,
true. Yeah.
End of the game. We've got a final score. Jaylen Brown attempting the last shot.
Pulls up on Covington.
Well, you worry about him defensively.
Great D.
Not bad by Robert Covington.
Great D.
Defensive stop. That'll do it. Houston Rockets hang on in overtime, 111 to 110. When we talk, though, about the Western Conference playoff race, how important are every single one of these wins after the All-Star break, especially for a team that's hung out at 4-5 and now looks like they could be up there in the top 3.
Yeah, which team's got to go on, take an East Coast trip, or which these teams have to come west? Here they are out in the East. That's a heck of a game and a great win for them. Keep building on their confidence of playing this way. To your question earlier, I think they do have to stay healthy. I don't think they have a lot of margin for error of one of their prime guys going down or being dinged up, not healthy going into the playoffs, and their matchups matter. But the race is awesome. I mean, every night I'm looking at the standings going, what if this happens? What if that happens?
And it can change so significantly every single night as well, which is why some of these bigger matchups are so vitally important.
Yeah, and you make a great point, Coach. I mean, it's one thing to say we're going to play this style. And if you go out and you play that style and you get your head beat in for a little while, players start doubting.
And doubt creeps in.
And doubt creeps in. And going in and winning this game, they had the game in control for the most part, then slip into overtime. But to dig it out, go ahead and dig it out on the road, it has to be taken as a good sign for the Rockets.
Well, it was a 41-point game from Russell Westbrook, so let's go ahead and hear from him after the game.
After that Jaylen Brown game tire at the end of regulation could have been demoralizing. How did you pick your guys up after that?
Same with it, man. The measurement of a man is where you stand in adversity, man. I thought we did a good job as a unit coming out competing and closing the last 5 minutes out.
It seemed like you had some adversity early on in the game. Everybody was struggling. You had yourself going. What did you do to bring everybody from there?
Just play my game. Every night I try to go to compete. I'm just blessed to be able to go out and compete and thankful for that. So I give everything I got every time I step on the floor.
It's a lot of talk about small ball with your team, but you're big at every position outside the 5. Defensively, can you describe how you guys play?
Scrappy. We got to be mean. We got to go get loose balls. We got to rebound. We got to help each other out, man. I thought we did a good job of that tonight.
And you guys have been on your run now, and this team, Boston, came off of a 3-1 road trip and feeling good about themselves. What does this win mean for you?
It's a huge win, man. It shows that we're moving in the right direction. Now we just got to take this game and move on to the next.
Thank you, Russell. Mark?
Houston Rockets.
On to the next from Russell Westbrook, who not only has been an MVP, but he's playing alongside someone who has as well. And we've talked a lot about how they could play alongside each other. But now these are guys that when you have that MVP conversation and you talk about, all right, who's in the top 10 at this point? Realistically, Russ has a couple of months.
He really has it, and it's not just been 2 weeks that he's been playing at this level. And it's hard for a guy. He probably hasn't played off the ball since UCLA. Right? He's a primary guy, so he gets it, brings it up, and attacks it. They've just got a nice flow, and their space for him is just fantastic.
As much as anything, I just appreciate that interview. I know it's after a win, but this is Russell Westbrook. He's, an older guy now. He's on another team. I think he feels re-energized. To hear him say the measure of a man is how you stand during adversity just shows me growth. And I love Russ. I like how he attacks it every night. I appreciate that he goes out there and plays every night. I just like watching these guys grow up and mature as they get older.
I like watching them not only cover GQ, but perform on the floor the way that they guaranteed everybody that they could. And since 2001, no other 2 teammates have averaged at least 30-plus points a game, like these 2 guys have throughout the month of February since Shaq and Kobe. That was the last time we saw a duo be as offensively potent as they have been in 1 month alone.
Very difficult to do as 2 guards. It's an easier mindset, guard big, but the 2 of them to be able to do it has just been super.
And they obviously like to play together. You saw that embrace the second the game was over, and you like to see that. That's genuine happiness on James's face, and he didn't have a good game tonight. You know, and that's really fun and rewarding for me to watch.
Yeah. Well, when we come back, we're going to